And the race for cash in the San Diego's mayor's race is at full throttle with just 5 weeks to go in the election. Investigative reporter Joe Girardi with KPBS media partner iNewsSource joins us with the latest on tracking mayoral race money. Joe, welcome back.
Thanks.
So, Joe, what had to be filed yesterday, an important day, and why was this filing date or deadline, I should call it, so important?
Sure. It was the first major pre-election campaign finance filing deadline of the mayor's race. Up until now, we've had a partial view of how much campaigns and other political committees active in the race have been raising. They've had to report within 24 hours any contributions from individuals who have given at least $1,000.
Break down for us how much money has been raised so far overall.
Okay. Well, as of yesterday, we found out that the major candidates and the committees supporting them have raised nearly $2.5 million in the 6 weeks that we've been.
It seems like a short amount of time to raise that much money. So how much has each candidate, if you could separate that out for us, how much have they raised?
Sure. The candidate who's raised the most, if you add his supporting committees in, is David Alvarez. He and the independent political committee supporting him have raised over $1 million. In second place is former state assemblyman Nathan Fletcher. His campaign, plus an independent committee supporting him, have raised nearly $800,000. In third place is Councilman Kevin Faulconer. His campaign and an independent committee that backs him have raised over $600,000. And then way in the back, you have former city attorney Mike Aguirre. He announced early on that he would not accept any contributions over $250, but he maybe shouldn't have even bothered to make that announcement since he raised just a little over $3,000, and almost half of that was his own money.
His money on his own.
Yeah.
Over $1 million for Alvarez in such a short amount of time. How did he raise this money so quickly?
That's a great question, and it gets to a very important distinction. Technically, David Alvarez's campaign did not raise the majority of that money. His campaign only raised about $140,000 on its own. Instead, the vast majority of that $1 million was raised by independent political committees, in particular one committee sponsored by the San Diego and Imperial Counties Labor Council. They raised almost $900,000.
Of that $1 million.
Yes.
They were big. Tell us how many people are contributing to these campaigns.
Sure. Now, we don't have a perfect idea because campaigns are not required to list any donor who gives less than $100. But we still think that that probably counts over 95% of the money. So in terms of the candidate with the most individual donors, that's Kevin Faulconer. He has almost 1,100 individual donors that we counted. Nathan Fletcher is a little below, a little over 1,000 donors. And then way behind them is Councilman David Alvarez. He had 281 individuals, and Mike Aguirre had 17.
17. Okay. How much of this money in these campaigns have already been spent, and what are they being spent on?
Sure. Well, the biggest spender so far is Working Families for a Better San Diego. They are the Labor Council's political committee. They're supporting David Alvarez. They spent about $400,000. A lot of that is coming in the form of TV advertisements. They're buying a lot of TV airtime to air advertisements in support of David Alvarez. They've also spent a good amount of money on polling.
Alrighty. Well, investigative reporter Joe Girardi with KPBS Media iNewsSource. Thank you very much for this. And there's a whole lot more on our website, kpbs.org.
Thanks so much.